I turned around and ended up doing burglaries. So yeah, basically I turned around and through my addiction, I ended up being, me and another person ended up burgling houses and taking car keys and stealing cars and items from people's houses.
What kind of impact was that having on your life?
For me at the time, I was heavily addicted to crack and heroin. So at the time, I was living in a detrimental state where, you know, all my conscience and all my morals had gone. So I was basically living a life of just soulless and depleted. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously ignoring what the crime that I was committing, the actual like substance off of it, ignoring like what that was. But then obviously knowing subconsciously what I was doing, do you know what I mean? So it wasn't doing me no favours, and it was just obviously adding to the impact of my self-worth at the time.
Yeah. How did you end up getting involved with Remedi or hearing about it?
It was through a project that I was working through with the police, a C3 project, and obviously coming out from prison. Not coming out from prison, when I was in prison, offered an opportunity to turn around and be able to just confess to all my crimes, and then part of that would be obviously to turn around and speak to my victims and that as well, if and when necessary.
What made you want to do that?
For me personally, it was I knew that I'd caused a lot of harm, and when I started to get clean and sober, turning around and then reading the states that I had potentially left people in and their houses, you know, for one instance was, you know, the house got burgled and their front door was left open, and that front door could have been left open for however many hours, and obviously with children and stuff like that. So for me, it was a case of just trying to turn around and hold my hands up to everything that I'd done wrong, and if there was any chance I could help anyone along the way, then that was what I wanted to do.
So what was that C3 program like for you? What was the process like?
Well, I'm still ongoing in the process with it now. So you know, it's an intense program that, without it coming out of prison, I don't think I'd be at the position where I've got myself to. Do you know what I mean? Because I've managed to retrain and stuff like that, and I've started work part-time, and then obviously, you know, with my addiction and that, you know, it's obviously an ongoing battle for the rest of my life, but I've had some real help and support through the C3 project.
Yeah. Would you say that it is positively impacting you?
100%, yeah, 100%, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't like to think of how I would be coming out of prison with no sort of safeguards in place, just through the nature of my addiction and through the nature of, you know, the way that it can be funded criminality-wise. So, yeah, definitely positive.
Is it something you recommend to other people in a similar position?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, yeah. That's just a quick yes on that answer. Yeah, no, so you know, I suppose the understanding that I've got from being here is to turn around and maybe shed some light on people that might be in a position where they're offered the opportunity to speak to their victims. And I think, you know, coming from a non-selfish side, I think that you might be able to potentially give some closure to some people and that, because, you know, last thing, everything I'd done was opportunistic. There was no targeting, there was no singling out, there was nothing like that onto the people. And I don't use the word victims, but it was victims. So if I can turn around and potentially give some people some sort of closure, then I think that's the least I can do. And then from my sort of side of it as well, it was, you know, it's right saying you're going to go and do something, but then when you're actually sitting in front of someone that you've committed a crime to, you know, it does do something for your soul on the sense of good and bad. Do you know what I mean? So you definitely get something from it, but it's definitely a scary thing to do, but it's trying to own the lifestyle that I was living and to try and turn around and hopefully never go back to it. And if this can help someone to turn around and undertake the same journey I went by speaking to their victims and that, then so be it.